Hello and welcome back to another Premier League weekend reaction podcast with Fickle Sports. And I'm your host, Gary, joined as always by Alex. How are you doing, good sir?
I was good until I saw that trumpet impression. If anyone's watching that on mute, they would have got the complete wrong idea. I
You good?
also, that's the first time I've heard that music. That was a little bit vibey. I quite enjoyed that.
It's a bit trippy. It was a bit trippy. But if you guys are new here, do subscribe. We would really appreciate it. We had a crazy weekend. 30 plus goals, Alex, this weekend. It was 36, 37, I can't remember. But what is going on today's show? We've got a short one. We're talking winners and losers of the week, as usual, because that's our favorite segment every single week to do that. But also, we've got who's going to be the next Man United manager following the sacking of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, and are Chelsea running away with the league? Now, let's start, as usual, with winners of the week. And may I go first, Alex? Is that all right? I usually go to you.
You have my permission. Go on. You go. I feel like, you know what? I feel like this game week, I feel like we're going to just agree, which I don't like. I don't like agreeing with you. I feel like it's boring. But I feel like the winners and losers are quite clear cut. But let's see. Go on. You go first. What you got?
Well, for me, it's kind of, there's a couple of candidates, but I think still the clear winner this weekend is Chelsea and Thomas Tuchel. It's got to be silently, whilst everyone's, sort of having mad debuts, managers having wins, Man United losing. You've got a lot of stuff going on, but Chelsea just silently plugging along, not caring about the rest of the Premier League and what's going on. Mainly because I just think it's quite impressive how consistent Chelsea have been playing without Romelu Lukaku. He's been out for almost a month, so it's since the middle of October. So in this stretch, you get to see the system that Tuchel has employed without him. And, Romelu Lukaku is the focal point. He's signed there. He's the big money signing. They would have created their tactics and their system for Romelu Lukaku. But they go with two up front. They have wing backs. So I think it was just really impressive to see throughout this. Chelsea haven't been playing amazing, but it's the consistency week to week that they're able to pull teams and, get in behind them and still create a lot of chances for themselves to score. And something is up with the water at Chelsea's training ground for the fullbacks, because Ben Chilwell and Reece James, they're continuing to, slam down the wing, get assists and goals. And Chilwell almost got a goal himself that weekend. So, yeah, for me, Chelsea and Thomas Tuchel. I think more Thomas Tuchel. My respect for him continues to go up week by week.
So you know what? I agree. There's one thing. There's actually a slight caveat I'm going to say, right? And I'm not taking away from Tuchel, or maybe I am. But it's like I agree with everything you say, right? He's been really, really good. But the one thing I'm going to pick up on you on is, you said where they obviously would have built the tactical plan for this season, like it would have been around Lukaku. It probably quite an easy switch for him, because all he's got to do when Lukaku gets injured, all he's got to do is go, okay, we're just going to revert to what we were doing last season.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, but I feel like that's taken away from him. I always feel, am I being petty? I might be being petty.
Lukaku's he's a big man himself. He's just a big, he's the big money signing, and he would be, I think, front and like the first person pretty much on the team sheet. And for most managers, they would sort of build a team around him. But maybe Thomas Tuchel is a bit different. He's very flexible with his tactics. But yeah,
there's a few things I think it's worth mentioning. I think, you know what, right? Leicester City. I think it is worth mentioning, because I think 3-0 to Chelsea against Leicester City is a fantastic headline. But I do think it is worth mentioning that Leicester City have just been off the boil recently, right? It's not like the same Leicester City of the last few years. And it is worth kind of just mentioning that slightly, because we don't want to mention it too much. We don't want to take away from Chelsea. But do you know what impressed me most with the Tuchel side? Is they come at you from every single angle. There's literally no way of there's no way that you can defend where they're going to be kind of comfortable. Because if you look at the goals they scored, right? So their first goal was a set piece.
Mm-hmm.
And they've been very good at set pieces so far this season. And then their 2 goals came from the flanks, or was from open play, like building from the back. And Chilwell, I think Chilwell could have scored 2 goals if from balls being played over the top. So do you know what I mean? There's like you go up high against them, they'll put balls over the top. You sit back against them, they can play through you. It's so impressive to me the way they're able just to kind of just cut through you regardless of how you try to defend. It's really impressive stuff.
And on top of that, if you have Kante scoring goals against you, you know you're in serious trouble. So, yeah, I mean, we usually, you and I, kind of similar in our brains, in that once the team gets through Christmas and they're on top, then we can start getting serious. But Chelsea really, really haven't missed a beat since the start of the season, other than Manchester City. Like, I think they're by far the favourites this season. Right? I mean, Man City and Liverpool, I think they've got they have the better ceiling game to game in terms of like how they can perform in a game, but consistency, Chelsea are my favourites.
Here's my one thing with Chelsea, right? Every single team goes through bad form in a season. Every single one, be it like kind of Liverpool, like a few seasons ago, remember towards the tail end, they went off a little bit. Even Arsenal's invincible season, even that one, they had bad form, but they just managed to grind out results.
It's a lot of draws.
And so my question, so I don't think Chelsea have hit bad form yet. And it's surprising for me because I would have thought it would have happened when they lost their 2 main strikers, but they've dealt with it brilliantly. So my question is when the bad form comes, how do they deal with it? How long does it last? And you know what? Maybe they'll be like kind of one of the very, 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 very rare teams that just don't hit that. But as I say, 99.9% of the time, teams do hit bad form. So it's how they deal with that when they get it.
Okay, so Chelsea and Thomas Tuchel, my winners of the week. But do you agree, or do you have anyone that comes close?
I mean, there's a few people that come close, but my one was Chelsea. I think I think Liverpool were looking on form and City were looking on form. And I don't get me wrong, people weren't writing people Chelsea off. They thought they'd be contenders, but I didn't think it'd be Chelsea leading the race. But that's what it is at the moment.
I do have a runner-up, though. I don't know if I'm stealing your spot. I don't know if I'm stealing your spot again.
Shall I tell you what? I have a few small contenders. So you do your runner-up first, and then I'll tell you what they're the ones that would have won, but they're just interesting ones to me.
Well, my runner-up would have been Watford and Claudio Ranieri. Out of the relegation zone, that is a big deal. 2 wins out of 5 for Ranieri. That is really a great result for Watford. I mean, Watford weren't doing too bad before Ranieri came, but as in, I get the feeling that with Ranieri, I like their performance. Their performance has gone up a gear. The job is not done, but what I like is that he's like pushing the strengths of this Watford side, kind of getting them to defend in numbers and work and make it really hard for other teams. Dare I say, he has instilled like probably the dark arts of Italian football within his team. Really make it difficult for teams to get into the final third, and foul if need be. I mean, you can't get past this bank of 8. Sorry, but it's solid.
He did that.
They're competent.
I was just going to add, he did that for Leicester City to win the title. So like if it ain't broke.
Exactly. So he's bringing that to this Watford side. They've got quite very athletic players as well in their attack. So it kind of creates like a springboard for them to attack essentially and just go hell for leather once they get the ball out and attack in numbers. But first and foremost, it's that solidarity of that 2 banks of 4. Really making it difficult for teams to enter into their final third. And, this is proving to generate results. So Watford are my runners-up of winners of the week.
Yeah, I agree. Watford are like kind of quite rightly second, but I'm going to give you my I wouldn't even call it like winners of the week, but it's just like happy things I've noticed. That's what we're going to call it. Happy things I've noticed. It's first is new managers central, and what I mean by that is Conte, Gerrard, and Smith all got their first wins for their each respective clubs. And it's worth mentioning as well, Conte and did it at the second bite of the cherry, but Gerrard and Smith, it's both their first games. What's up, by the way, Carl? Don't worry if you missed the start.
I find it very weird.
Anyway, it wouldn't.
Yeah, it was all about Chelsea. I find it very weird. The new managers, they look so weird in those dugouts. Right, Dean Smith at Norwich, Steven Gerrard at Aston Villa, and Conte at Tottenham. You're who, especially Conte at Tottenham. Like, who would you have imagined that? But yeah, they all got their wins. Happy starts. So you're right with the Premier League wins.
It didn't feel weird until you said it, but now I'm thinking about it, and I'm just thinking like kind of because you think of Rangers when you think of Gerrard, you think of Villa when you think of Smith, and obviously Conte, and now it just feels weird for me when I think about them. The second kind of happy feeling vibe, whatever you want to call it, was Premier League fans. I'll tell you why. There were 36 goals scored in the Premier League this game week, which is 8 shy of the most goals in a game week ever. Which you remember, I think that happened last year during lockdown. It might have been, was that the 7-2 situation? And like kind of Tottenham won 6-1 and like it was some crazy results. But anyway, it's 36 goals. And I feel like it was a real treat for almost every single fan. I'm not sure about you, but of all the games that we did, or I didn't, I don't think there was a boring one. And there could have been more goals because there were some really, really, really good saves made throughout that game week. Just name a few. Steele, Schmeichel, Fabianski, Foster, Ramsdale. He made a few.
Ramsdale kept it down.
I know they lost 4-0, but he made some cracking saves.
It's the least that we deserve for going through an international break. Really, I feel. I think we deserved that 36 goals this weekend. So it was very good.
Yeah, and you know what? It is we should give a little shout out to the 4 big entertainers of this game week. And that's the 4 teams involved in the 3-3 draws. And that's Burnley, Palace, Newcastle, and Brentford. And to be fair, the majority of those teams, they probably get a bad rep for being entertaining as well. But they proved a lot of people wrong. It was 3-3. And I feel like all those teams, they're just really good games. And you know what? I feel like they gave too much in the first half. Because did you know, of the 12 goals that they scored, 10 of them were in the first half.
Yeah. Wow, stuff. I do have one nugget to add to this weekend in terms of winners of the league, because I think Newcastle are going to be the most exciting team for the rest of the season. Right? Hear me out. Right? They can't defend.
Go on.
They cannot defend to save their lives at the moment. Right? Who's that goalkeeper? Darlow. He had an absolute nightmare. Their backups don't seem to be, the goalkeeping backups don't seem to be any better. The defenders, oh my God, they're at 6s and 7s for half of the game. Eddie Howe's got a really tough job on his hands sorting out that Newcastle defense. But going forward, right, with the electricity in the stadium with their fans, they're just happy that they're past the Steve Bruce and the era of the owner that shall not be named. And you got Saint-Maximin, who he's playing like an absolute rocket. He's like taking on plays, really creating chances for Newcastle, and they will score goals. Callum Wilson as well. So I think Newcastle scoring goals, conceding goals, they will be the most entertaining team for the rest of the season.
I'm pretty sure. Now, obviously, we don't have a stats team yet, so this is all based off my memory. But I'm pretty sure that in the Premier League so far this season, the most goals they've scored has been 2 until the last game week. So Eddie Howe, in his first game, has got more goals for Newcastle's side in a single match than what Steve Bruce managed in the last 11 games.
Yes, but he's opened it up. He's let the floodgates open, both in attack and defense. So there is something wild that's going to happen at St. James's Park. So Any more for winners of the week? Any more?
No, I'm done with my happiness. Let's maybe let's switch it up and
Yeah, let's start taking the piss out of people now. Loser of the week. Loser of the week. I believe you should go first. I went first with winner of the week, so you should go first.
Of course you're going to give me this one first, because I feel like it's become a bit of a tradition now over at Fickle Sorts that loser of the week usually goes to the person who lost their job, because I feel like as a manager, there's probably nothing worse than losing your job, right? Because that's just like, regardless of anything that can happen in club football, like that's the one thing that you can't recover from. Because that's it. You don't get another bite at the cherry unless you're like Mourinho at Chelsea, or like the very few managers that end up going back to their clubs. But it's got to be Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, and I feel like it's been a long time coming, right?
Yeah, I feel like, a week too late for most Man United fans. Yeah, but yeah, go.
No, I was just gonna say, I feel like it's a long time coming, and I feel like United fans have been like kind of very conflicted about this situation, because I feel like they know he's a legend. They want to try and give him time, and they do want him to succeed. But I feel like after the Watford loss, I feel like it finally turned over into, no, we need someone else now.
Mm-hmm.
He's still, and I feel like it's been quite respectful, which I quite like. Also like that they did an exit interview.
Yeah, but it's weird. You sack a manager, okay, mutually terminate his contract, and you have an interview with him crying, and then you post it after you sacked him. Like, it's just, no, I found it a bit weird.
I get where you're coming from, but I liked it. And plus, if it become the norm, imagine where managers like are unhappy they've been sacked. Imagine how entertaining that would be.
Yeah, we really wanted Jose Mourinho crying. That's what we wanted.
No, that's what you wanted in your agenda. But no, for me, it's got to be Ole Gunnar Solskjaer.
Okay, so Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is out, right? We got to get to the burning question, right?
Mm.
Who is gonna take over Man United, right? Who's the next Man United manager? You've got Michael Carrick, who is caretaker manager for now. Got a couple of names.
I'm gonna nip that one in the bud right now. I mean this. I genuinely believe that Michael Carrick, like, not that he's trying to like be a stick in the mud or anything, but I think he's part of the problem. I feel like if you get Carrick in, he might get a few good results in. Don't get me wrong, but I feel like you're just going to end up, unless he's secretly one of the best managers, like kind of like ever, that just hasn't given it a go yet, which is unlikely, given he hasn't actually had a go at management yet. But if you give it to Carrick, I feel like you're just going to end up with the same problems sooner or later down the line.
Jesus, no one was ever insinuating that Michael Carrick was going to be the next man.
Is that what you're saying?
I just said he was interim caretaker manager. Like, I didn't say anything else. So you butted in. But who's the other contenders? We've got Zinedine Zidane. Now that would be wild to see him in the Premier League. You got Brendan Rodgers, right? And who's the other contenders currently? Steve Bruce. Steve Bruce putting his hat in the ring.
I don't know if he counts as a contender just because he put his name in the ring. Because I want the Man United job. Give it to me. Am I a contender now?
No, but I mean, his CV is far.
Ed, is that you? I'm available from Tuesday.
Yeah. Zidane.
Yep.
Brendan Rodgers.
Pochettino.
Stevie Bruce. Right.
Okay. I'm going to do you a favor. I'm going to go from like kind of who I think is less likely and then like work my way. So Steve Bruce.
Interim manager. He could be interim manager to the end of the season. Make sure they don't get relegated.
Absolutely not. Why would you, if you've, like, as you just say, you've got Carrick there. I don't see what is Steve Bruce going to do, which like kind of Carrick isn't. And I know that sounds very disrespectful to Steve Bruce, and I don't mean it like that. But it's like, if he's only coming in temporarily, like they're not gonna it's not gonna be a horrific season for them, right? They're not gonna get relegated or anything. You may as well give Carrick it to the end of the season. Now sound like that, Andy. Give it easy to the end of the season. But I would like to see Steve Bruce with an embarrassment of riches finally for once. He didn't have a good squad ever. So I just am curious from a rival fan's point of view,
that it would be very entertaining to see Steve Bruce with the handbrake off. Would you not agree?
You know what? I agree, but I 100% agree. But Ed Woodward is never going to see it from that way, is he? So we're just going to give him the big X.
Ed Woodward, just before retirement, he could leave absolutely one last troll for the Man United fans. But there you go. Okay, fine. Okay, so we've done Steve Bruce.
I'm also going to give a tick across off to Zidane. I'll tell you why, because I think the rumour mills have started, right? And the thing is, you got to take everything with a pinch of salt. But I believe Zidane is holding out for the French job. That's the rumours that are coming out today. And so if he's doing that, there's no way he's going to take the United job, because it's not a job you take kind of for a few months, maybe not even a few years. So I don't think Zidane is interested. It's worth mentioning as well, the Spanish manager, Luis Enrique, someone asked him about the Manchester United job, and he said, is it April Fool's Day?
Yeah, I don't think you can turn your back on Spain for Man United. I'm just laughing at Carl's comment here. Bruce is dreadful. Ask Villa fans about him on their way to the greengrocer to buy cabbages. Yeah,
I thought he would have a comment.
Yeah.
I thought he'd have a comment. I just weren't sure which way I was going to go.
How positive it would be. Zidane, I feel like he's lined up for the PSG job, really, as well. It's like a merry-go-round where Pochettino comes in for to Man United and Zidane goes to PSG. But I will say this, whilst Man United have got Cristiano Ronaldo, right? Who's the man manager that has actually got a track record in man managing Cristiano Ronaldo? That's Zinedine Zidane. I don't even think Cristiano Ronaldo would listen to Pochettino, because Pochettino doesn't have any pedigree.
So, okay. Firstly, wow. That's
okay, not
wrong.
In a disrespectful way, but because of Ronaldo's super high, level standards, Pochettino's nowhere near it.
So, okay, so I think the thing is, right, so they went out today and they would have kind of got the vibe from the different camps, right? And the vibe from the Zidane camp, whether he's waiting for the PSG or France job, was he's not interested. And don't get me wrong, that can change, but at the moment we're dealing with kind of the current rumours, which he's not interested. So that does leave Pochettino and Rodgers.
Right.
So if we look at them, right, so let's do Pochettino first, because you've insulted him, and everyone's allowed to be wrong. So I'm happy to explain why you're wrong. So Pochettino, what did he do? He took Tottenham from being a Europa League club to a Champions League club, and he did it on 10 to 20% of the budget of the clubs around him.
Mm-hmm.
He'll bring high pressing and an entertaining style of football, and he'll definitely improve, I think, some of the players who maybe aren't around the first team, but he'll definitely improve some of the players in that.
Will he though? With big name players, right? He's even struggling with PSG right at the moment. So will he?
That's what I mean. I think he will definitely improve some of the players. I just don't know who that will be, and there will definitely be some players who he might not improve because they can't get on board with his management style. And it's quite funny, because I would actually say the downside to Pochettino is not necessarily his man management, but his man management style. I feel like it doesn't suit the Manchester United dressing room. So when Pochettino was at Tottenham, he didn't have a lot of kind of big personalities. Mm-hmm. And he was he was very much the guy, and it was a lot easier for him to kind of manage that dressing room. But there are rumours coming out at PSG that he is struggling with some of the larger personalities at PSG. And
exactly.
But let's be honest, Manchester United aren't without kind of big personalities.
So he's going to have to manage Pogba. He's going to have to manage Bruno Fernandes. He's going to have to manage Cristiano Ronaldo, even Maguire to some extent, and De Gea. So,
and do you know what as well? Pochettino is known for he's one of the managers. He does grueling training sessions. He wants his player to be as fit as possible. And the problem
Ronaldo would like that, actually. He would actually.
Well, Ronaldo would, but my problem is some players don't like that. And towards the end of his Tottenham, his stint at Tottenham, some of the Tottenham players would moan about how much training they had to do. And the thing is, that's going to be a trigger, isn't it? For any player who's not happy, that first training session where they're doing double sessions and they're doing nothing but running, you're going to see very early on, like how well it's going to go for him. On the other side,
okay, go on.
Well, I was going to say on the other side you have Rodgers, right? I actually think Rodgers has a man management style that's more suited to Manchester United.
Yeah, it's going to be tough going from Liverpool to Man United. That's a proper tough one.
I
Similar
think
to Pochettino, hasn't really won anything either. So I don't
Well,
know. I mean, they went for Ole Gunnar Solskjaer at the end of the day, but I think they're kind of similar in management appointments.
I think so. Rodgers, he's a little bit different, and I'll tell you why. I feel like he's first of all he'll get less time. He'll get less time from the fans. I think that's quite important because like Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, he definitely got extra time for the fans because he's a legend. Whereas Rodgers, where he managed Liverpool, they're going to give him less time. They're not going to.
They're going to give him 1.5 season maximum.
And well, yeah, exactly. And I feel like, but the thing is, and the other thing that might have them a little bit pessimistic about Rodgers as well is the fact that the last few seasons he's flopped Champions League football.
Yes.
But I want to say some positives about Rodgers, right? And this is the first thing: the Manchester United business model is not the same as the Leicester business model. And the Leicester business model is find brilliant players, bring them up, and then sell them. They sold Chilwell, not this transfer window, but the last summer transfer window, right? And the transfer window before that, they sold Maguire. And it's a conveyor belt, right? Because remember when they won the league, they sold Kante, they sold Mahrez. They bring through these brilliant players or these very good players, and then they sell them on for high transfer fees. That's their business model. That is not the Manchester United business model. So Rodgers, if he gets the job, he's going to get a chance to get the players he wants and to keep them, which is a very different kettle of fish than the current Leicester job. And
he's done that at Liverpool.
Well, and it's worth mentioning that he had a sustained success at Celtic. Now, I know the Scottish League is very different, but I'm just like to do that. And I think he went 69 games. Rumor has it that he purposely lost on the 70th game. But he went 69 games unbeaten at Celtic. Right? Not your average manager does not do that, regardless of the league you're in.
Yeah.
And thirdly, I'm listing stuff now, but Ten Hag, who is the manager who's been thrown around a lot, he's in a very similar situation to what Rodgers was at Celtic. Like kind of the Dutch league is a lesser. I don't know how to say this without being respectful. But and it's a lesser league.
Yeah, it definitely is, and that's why I agree with Carl in the comments. Now he said he had that with Liverpool and he choked, right? And absolutely, that's why I think you might have to go with someone like Zinedine Zidane because you brought in someone like Cristiano Ronaldo. Why would you bring in someone like Pochettino or Brendan Rodgers who don't have that pedigree of management?
So there's two things. I'm going to put it on you here, right? One, 100% agree with Liverpool. He choked it. And I agree with Leicester that he's choked the last 2 seasons.
Choked it twice.
But as I say, Leicester is a very different beast than what he had at Liverpool and what he would potentially have at Manchester United. So what you're betting on is if he gets a similar situation to what he was at Liverpool, which is must be close to 5 years ago now. Maybe probably a bit longer, right? But has he improved since then? Which he might have, but that's the gamble you're taking. And my question to you, Gary, right?
Mm-hmm.
With Zidane, rumored to not be interested, who would you go for then?
Out of the three?
Yeah.
Or Pochettino or Rodgers?
Anyone but Rodgers. No, anyone but Zidane.
I would probably go with Pochettino. I wouldn't like the paycheck that Man United have to get out in order to get Pochettino. But if you're talking about between Pochettino and Rodgers, the pedigree of those two in terms of Premier League wins, I'll just go Pochettino because I was more impressed with what he did with the Tottenham squad. But it's different having to manage big names like Cristiano Ronaldo.
I agree. To be honest, I do think they're two very good managers. Do you know what? I think United fans, I think we got to wrap this up because we've been talking about the new Manchester manager.
Who they should have got is Antonio Conte, and it's funny for everyone in the league who doesn't support Man United because everyone knew that he was the man that was supposed to take Man United, but they dilly-dallied too darn long.
And he wanted the job. I will say,
Which
you know
brings
what?
me.
This is going to be controversial. What I'm about to say here, right? All right. Firstly, Conte could have won winner and loser of the week this game week because the first half performance by Tottenham was that bad, and the second half performance was that good. He could have won both for each half. But controversial opinion. The current Tottenham squad probably suits Conte better than the current Manchester United squad. But there's no doubt Conte definitely would have found more success after a few transfer windows with United than he would Tottenham.
Maybe. My other loser of the week, goes on from our previous point, is that everyone else other than Man United fans are going to suffer following the sacking of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. I'm pretty sure every other fan, because football is a rivalry, were really enjoying the turmoil that Man United were going through and the meltdown that Man United fans basically having week to week. No longer can we play that video of Rio Ferdinand saying that Ole's at the wheel whenever there's a loss. So I feel like with the right appointment, the right manager appointment, Man United will get back to where they were nearly like at the top. So we'll see.
I don't know if you see. It's really distracting because I've just realised I've done the same to you. But when you read a comment because you're talking, so someone else reads it, and I just start giggling because I've seen it first. But I just said I would buy a greengrocer store and get rights to park outside Old Trafford and rig the appointment and make sure they get Bruce in. I'd be rich in no time.
I would really love to see Steve Bruce. It's just fascinating. Just from a football manager, 2021, game simulation point of view, that would be hilarious.
Who knows? It might be Allardyce when he had the England job for about 5 minutes because he got caught. But Allardyce was giving it the big and say he was going to do this and that. Do you know what? I have a very weak contender for loser of the week, but it's a very weak one. I do concede that. Right? And it's Arteta. And it's not, hear me out, it's not entirely his fault.
You're trying to slight me on live, just to annoy me right at the end. That's what you're trying to do.
No. Look, you know the deal, right? We actually try very, very hard. And I have to be honest with you, it's really difficult, but we try really, really hard to be unbiased, right?
Alex is going to slag off Aston Villa next, Carl. You better watch out.
Everyone's on this. Tottenham have got 3 points, and now I'm gunning for everyone. No, hear me out, right? And I think it looks worse on the headline as well. But when so to describe the situation, right? I think Mane goes in against an Arsenal defender. I can't remember who it was.
Tomiyasu.
Right, so Mane goes in on him, right? And it looks a bit. It doesn't look great, right? From different angles, it doesn't look great. I don't think
he just leading with the elbow. It just would have. If you were going up for the header and you got an elbow to the face, it just would have hurt. It just like that's it.
I don't think it was a red card, but Arteta went a bit he moaned to the full fish. I don't think he went too cray at that point, which I think I don't disagree with him with that. I back him for that. He thought his player was fouled in a worse way than what he was. Obviously, he only gets one quick look at it. So I actually back Arteta for kind of backing his player. I don't have.
You have to defend your player. You have to everyone has to defend their player.
So the reason why is because, and he never would have seen this coming. He definitely would have seen this coming. But then when he starts arguing with Klopp and he gets dragged back by his assistant and then he starts jumping up and down and he's Muhammad Ali in his prime and he's going all over the top and there's a little bit of Napoleon in him at that point in time.
He does have a spring in his step somehow.
I tell you what, he just started bouncing. I thought he's back to a roundhouse Klopp. Right?
Pointing at Klopp.
But from that moment onwards, he got the Anfield crowd going. And then from that moment onwards, Liverpool just went through the gears. And I feel like that was probably the trigger moment that got the crowd going, that got the team going. And I feel like from there, it just snowballed into a fantastic performance by Liverpool. On a side note, Liverpool actually played really well. The way they interrupted you trying to build up from the back was really, really impressive.
Liverpool are ahead of Arsenal in terms of,
Liverpool are one of the
better team.
Liverpool are one of the best teams at kind of pressing, so I don't think there's much shame in them picking anyone apart, kind of when they're building from the back. But it was just a little bit coincidentally funny the way as soon as Arteta kind of did his best Ali impression, that it went downhill from then.
I will say it's mainly because Klopp was super. I think he was just quite super dismissive and laughing it off like the Arsenal player was completely like making it up. I think that was the main reason what got Arteta heated.
Here's the problem, right?
Klopp is always getting involved in all these altercations. It's not necessarily, is it Arteta? Is it Pep? Is it Frank Lampard? The main constant is Jurgen Klopp.
Here's what
got it right. One Premier League win, and they've given it the big one every single time.
Here's what I'm going to say to you. In any situation with managers, right? In any situation, they're either both right or they're both wrong. So I don't care which side you pick, but I'll show you why. Because both of them, they get one little glimpse of what's happened, and they're both so close to it. None of them really know what's actually gone on until they watch a replay. And neither Klopp nor Arteta had a chance to look at the replay, but both of them got their toys out of their pram very quickly. So for me, probably both in the wrong. You know what I mean? There's not one. They can't both be. One can't be right. One can't be wrong. It's got to be either both of the other, both or none of them.
I can't wait to see Steven Gerrard at Liverpool at Anfield, because Steven Gerrard can't keep it.
Hang on. We're not going to ignore that. So I am absolutely terrible at pronouncing names, right? But we're just going to acknowledge that you just said Gerrard. And even though I know 100% that you know how to say Steven Gerrard, I'm not letting that one slide.
Gerrard. Sorry, I was trying to do the local accent. I can't wait. I can't wait to see Steven Gerrard at Anfield, because obviously his links to Liverpool, but him as a player and as a manager. You saw at Rangers, he can't keep it in. If there's some conflict that's going to happen between Liverpool and Aston Villa, he's probably, maybe not the very first game, but down the line, he'll give it some serious chat to Jurgen Klopp. I'm pretty sure.
He's a very passionate manager. Should make for very insane. We currently have some very passionate managers in the Premier League. It makes for very, very exciting time. And let's be honest, Gerrard, it's not beneath Gerrard to do the dirty. He did one or two pretty horrific tackles. He's got it in him. He's got that little nasty streak in him.
Well, if he does it from the manager's technical area, then that's a new level. Any other losers of the week? Carl's got a comment. I'm not looking forward to that game. It'll be exciting, but Liverpool are nasty right now. They are pretty nasty.
I mean, Gary's just been on the wrong end.
Yeah, well-oiled machine, aren't they? Currently at the moment, they're just able to stamp on people's necks. I feel this Liverpool team.
To be honest with you, I was just going to say. To be honest with you, Carl, I feel like any team outside of your Cities and your Chelseas would not want to be facing Liverpool right now. I think it's an absolute nightmare game. They just look.
You talk. Yeah, you continue talking. I'm going to find out when Aston Villa are facing Liverpool. That's my job right now. So you talk.
Okay. Do you want me to show you the XG for when Arteta kicked off with Klopp? Genuinely,
no, that's not what I want. I said continue talking, but don't. Why would you talk about that?
Because people like statistics. And
Liverpool away, December 11th. That's not even that far away. That's like 3 weeks away. Bloody hell! We got to circle that. We've got to circle that game. That'll be a good one.
Are you ready, Gary? Are you ready for this?
No.
This next thing. I'm going to show you right now.
Okay.
It gives me tips for when I share my screen. Get rid of the pornography. No, can you see this?
Yes.
It was at this point that Arteta and Klopp had their little fisticuffs. Look how close the XG was. It was Liverpool 0.39 to Arsenal's 0.16. Arteta and Klopp went for it, and then by the end of it, it was 3.97 to 0.27. So the lesson there for anyone who's watching who's not a Liverpool fan is don't pick on Klopp at Anfield. It is not a good situation to be in.
Damn. I learned the hard way. Definitely. But any other losers of the week, do you think, in your personal mine.
No, that's it. I think we like to poke a little bit of light-hearted fun, but I'm not going to pick any just for the sake of it. I think that's it for me. That was Understat, by the way. I don't know if they're going to I don't know if they're one of them people, or you have to say their name on that. But Understat.
No. Don't you worry. Okay, so that's basically it. I mean, we're running short in terms of winners and losers of the week. We want to make sure that
Gary, before you finish up here, Carl. I haven't had a chance to watch the Villa game yet, so I just want to quit a quick. What's your maybe not winners or losers of the week, but how did you feel about Gerrard's first game?
Stevie Gerrard was quite electric from what I saw. I think if he can get them attacking, in the way that they want to create chances, basically, if they can get Ollie Watkins firing, like that goal was insane. Did you see that goal? The way they just broke like halfway up the pitch, and I felt like in that moment he could have passed like twice, but he was like, no, I'm just going to take this on myself and I'm just going to actually spank it. So what a bloody goal that was.
We did well, not much of the ball, but twice the XG, so okay-ish. Possession can be overrated, right? If you're not one of the big, like kind of one of the bigger teams, then possession isn't as important. It's what you do with it. It's the chances you create. I did see that Watkins started on the wing, which I think that's what Smith was trying to avoid, right? So it's quite interesting that Gerrard's come in and he said, I'm going to put I'm going to put Watkins there, which is what people try to not do, right? But sometimes it pays off.
Yeah, I wouldn't be worried about the possession in the XG because Brighton, they've for a couple of seasons now, they've really worked on their game and being able to hold on to the ball, which is, really impressive for a team that's, been promoted, and, scrapping about. But they stuck true to their style of play and they're really good at holding the ball. Like Steven Gerrard, he had the tactics. He made the right decision. You can't go hell for leather on your very first game. If you're previously struggling the last couple of games, didn't win in 5. Got to keep it tight and get the win. That's the most important thing. So, yeah, I wouldn't worry too much.
Yeah. Last thing before we go, Carl says still no Traore or Trezeguet but is Luis still out as well? If you get back to us, Carl. So still no Traore or Trezeguet, who are both still out. So we had limited options. You know what is worth mentioning before we go? Now I feel like I'm picking on people. Now I feel like I'm going out my way for it. But Brighton haven't won in 7.
Yeah. I think they're sliding down. They were so hot at the beginning of the season. So
I was just about to say that, and I feel like for Potter, Luis is still. When is Luis due back?
He speaks English. You don't talk to Carl like he does. He's like a foreigner and he can't speak.
I was just about to say that, and I speak louder as well. Like he's in a different room, like he's over there. I'm not used to this live malarkey. I'm sitting there, I'm shouting downstairs to Carl. When's he back? But yeah, Brighton are in a bit of trouble, and I think Potter, who's had a very good reputation up till now, even though Brighton haven't had the best of kind of Premier League finishes, his reputation might get a little bit tainted if they have another bad season, right?
Yeah. No, yeah, I agree, but they are currently 8th. That's far higher than their expectations of the season. And we haven't talked about Wolves, dizzying heights of 6th, 12 games in, 19 points, considering this last season that they had. Oh my God.
Do you know what? If we're going to do that, we've got to mention as well. He's beating West Ham. Now it's worth mentioning with West Ham, right? Hang on. Before we
him talk about that, back scoring. That's the key.
Luis was 50-50 with Brighton, so I assume Palace away. It'd be good to have Luis back. He is a very important player, I feel, for Villa. I feel like he's a Gerrard sort of player as well. He'll like him. But on what was we talking about? Wolves and West Ham. Let's nip this in the bud, right? First of all, West Ham, they're a bit unlucky because he got ruled out for, I think, 9 months. It's ACL injury. Yeah, and that's, he's been very key to West Ham. So that's really, really unfortunate for them. But West Ham have been one of the better teams in the Premier League this season. So Wolves beating them, that is actually a fantastic result for Wolves. It's actually a really good result for them. And, you know, the way they really disrupted West Ham. So I was really impressed with the Wolves game.
Yeah, can they maintain this form though with Jimenez and got the Korean striker there as well? I mean, like Podence is starting to come good. Can you get Adama Traore back firing? That's the question as well. Can he be the fantasy football darling for the rest of us? But super impressive. But I think that's us covered in terms of winners and losers of the week. I don't think there's anyone else.
I feel like we've basically done every game now, just like a little bit. But that is it, winners and losers of the week. We hope you all have a good week. I was trying to think if there was football during the game week, but it's obviously back to European football. So enjoy watching that.
Yes, so we will see you next week for more winners and losers of the week. Come early. Make sure you tell us who your winners and losers of the weekend are in the chat so we can go at it, basically, during the whole show.
You let us know, and we'll see you next week.
See you, Carl. See you.